Deep in the silent expanse of the Icarus sector, the command bridge of the Valkyrian, flagship of the Talinar Defense Fleet, hummed with quiet activity. Officers monitored various readouts and holographic star maps, all routine for a fleet assigned, to patrol the border between their home system and the uncharted frontier beyond. Commander Lyra Kess sat rigid in her chair, eyes fixed on the main display as a sudden blip appeared on their long-range sensors, a blip that didn't belong. "Commander, we have an unidentified object detected approximately 120,000 kilometers out." "Velocity. Extraordinary," said Ensign Taro, voice steady but edged with curiosity. Lyra leaned forward, studying the data streaming across the panel. The ship was moving far faster than anything they had cataloged before, closing in at speeds that made the fleet's fastest vessels look sluggish. "Scan it again," Lyra ordered. "Sensor arrays, amplify every frequency. I want to know everything about that ship." The bridge crew redoubled their efforts, but as the seconds ticked by, the ship remained elusive, its design, signature, and emissions unlike anything in the Talinar archives. "Commander, the vessel appears to be emitting some sort of stealth field. Our sensors are unable to penetrate it," reported Lieutenant Marin. "No identifiable energy signatures, no transponder codes." Lyra's eyes narrowed. Could it be a new type of cloaking technology, or something else entirely? From the tactical console, Lieutenant Ral shrugged. "It's definitely not any known Talinar or allied vessel. The shape is unfamiliar, angular, sleek, almost organic in its contours." The tension on the bridge grew. Unknown ships were rare, but one moving directly toward their fleet without response to hails was unprecedented. "Attempt communication. Open all standard channels," Lyra commanded. Static hissed over the speakers. "No response, Commander." The alien fleet's warships took defensive formations. Shields flared and weapon systems powered up, a silent message of readiness. "What are its intentions?" murmured Ensign Taro. "We don't know," Lyra said, voice low but firm. "But the fact it's coming straight at us without acknowledging. Hail suggests we prepare for all possibilities." Across the fleet, crews braced. The tension was palpable. They had trained for threats, but the unknown was always the most dangerous. Suddenly, the mysterious ship altered course ever so slightly, as if acknowledging the fleet, but making no effort to communicate. "Should we consider it a threat?" asked Lieutenant Marin. "It's impossible to say," Lyra replied, "but we will not take chances. All hands to battle stations." The Valkyrian's captain took a deep breath, steadying herself. She had faced crises before, but never one so confounding. The unknown vessel closed in at an alarming rate, disappearing briefly behind a field of dense asteroids before reappearing, now only 50,000 kilometers away. Sensors finally caught glimpses of its surface, a sleek hull, dark and reflective, unlike anything the Talinar had seen. Its markings were inscrutable but unmistakably human. A ripple of shock passed through the command crew. "Human?" Ensign Taro echoed, incredulous. "How is that possible?" Lieutenant Ral's eyes widened. "This design, it's unlike any ship in human records. Could it be a rogue craft, some secret experiment?" Lyra's mind raced. The Talinar had long heard tales of humans, known for their resilience, ingenuity, and unpredictability. But humanity had never been seen this far beyond the borders, let alone moving at such speeds unannounced. "Prepare to hail again," Lyra said, urgency in her voice. "And alert the fleet commanders. This could be a game changer." As the seconds passed, the ship accelerated, closing the gap rapidly. The fleet's weapon systems were primed, shields raised in anticipation. Suddenly, the mysterious vessel emitted a burst of energy, briefly lighting the surrounding void with a blue glow, then vanished from all sensors. "What just happened?" Marin asked, stunned. Lyra stood up, voice calm but resolute. "Whatever that ship is, it's unlike anything we've ever faced. This encounter is only the beginning." Far away, aboard the unidentified human ship, Captain Elias Gray adjusted. His controls, a calm smile crossing his face as the distant fleet scrambled to respond. "Let them wonder," he said softly. "They have no idea what's coming." The void was silent again, but the cosmos had shifted. A new player had entered the game, one that would change everything. The Valkyrian's bridge was a storm of activity, the crew scrambling to recover from the shock of the sudden disappearance of the mysterious human ship. Commander Lyra Kess paced slowly, her mind racing through the impossible. A human vessel, cloaked and racing toward their fleet, then vanishing as if by magic. "Captain," Lieutenant Marin said, her voice calm but urgent, "our sensors just picked up the ship again. It's reappeared near the outer edge of our formation, moving at sublight speed now, but still no response to our communication attempts." "Open all channels," Lyra ordered. "Frequency wideband. I want to make contact, but be prepared for anything." Static filled the comms console for several seconds. Then, a voice, calm and distinctly human, cut through the noise. "This is Captain Elias Gray of the human ship Endurance. We come in peace." The words hung in the air like a beacon. "Peace," Lyra repeated, almost disbelieving. "Why come here unannounced? Why cloak and race at us without warning?" There was a pause before the human captain responded. "Because we had to be certain no one was following us, and because we didn't want to startle anyone. We're operating beyond Earth Command's jurisdiction on a mission of exploration and protection. We mean no harm." Lieutenant Rowell exchanged a look with Marin. "Operating beyond Earth Command? That's unprecedented." Lyra's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. "Captain Gray, your ship's design and technology are unlike anything we've seen. Can you explain?" Elias's voice grew steady and confident. "The Endurance is a prototype, a vessel built by humanity's finest minds combining decades of research with innovations we developed in secret. We have technology that allows us to travel faster and more stealthily than any known fleet. Our mission is to explore, defend human interests, and, when necessary, intervene before conflicts escalate." There was a silence on the Valkyrians, bridge as the implications settled. The humans were not just survivors of a scattered species. They were innovators, strategists, and, above all, unpredictable. "Why reveal yourselves now?" Lyra asked. "Because the galaxy is changing," Elias said. "There are threats growing beyond what most species understand. We want allies, not enemies." The Talinar fleet's tactical officer leaned forward. "Can you provide proof you're alone? We must be sure this isn't some trick," Elias responded promptly. "Absolutely. We're prepared to send an envoy to your flagship for a full diplomatic exchange. Trust must start somewhere." Lyra hesitated, then nodded. "Very well, Captain Gray. We will accept your envoy. But know this. The Talinar are cautious, but we are not enemies to those who seek peace." Minutes later, the Endurance emitted a subtle energy pulse. From a hatch emerged a smaller craft, sleek and quiet, gliding toward the Valkyrian. On board was Elias Gray himself, ready to meet face-to-face with the alien commanders. As the airlock hissed open, Lyra stood to greet the human captain. Despite the tension, she found herself oddly reassured by his calm demeanor. "Welcome aboard the Valkyrian, Captain Gray," she said, extending her hand. Elias shook it firmly. "Thank you, Commander Kess. I hope this is the beginning of a lasting understanding." Over the next hours, the two exchanged information about their fleets, technologies, and cultures. Elias spoke of humanity's resilience, how centuries of conflict and challenge had forged a species both tenacious and adaptable. "We're often underestimated," Elias admitted, "but our greatest strength lies in our ability to learn, to improvise, and to never give up." Lyra found herself admiring the human spirit, even if her people still struggled to understand it fully. But not everyone was convinced. As the discussions unfolded, Whispers spread among the Talinar officers. Could humanity truly be trusted? Was this advanced vessel a herald of new alliances or a precursor to hidden dangers? Despite the uncertainties, the immediate crisis had been averted. The unknown ship was no longer a threat, but a mystery to be unraveled. Later, standing on the observation deck, Lyra watched as the human envoy prepared to return to the Endurance. "Commander," Elias said quietly beside her, "our arrival will raise questions across the stars, but if we stand together, there's no force that can break us." Lyra nodded, the weight of responsibility heavy on her shoulders. "Then we must learn to stand together, before the galaxy's shadows grow darker." As the human ship slipped back into the void, the Valkyrian's crew prepared for what would come next, because this first contact was just the start of something far greater, a story of challenge, courage, and the undeniable power of the human spirit. Days had passed since the first contact between the Talinar defense fleet and the mysterious human ship Endurance. Though the initial tension had eased, curiosity among the alien fleet was at an all-time high. Commander Lyra Kess found herself at the center of countless briefings and discussions, fielding questions about humanity's unexpected arrival and intentions. The Endurance remained just outside the fleet's perimeter, its sleek black hull gleaming faintly against the backdrop of stars. While the human crew maintained a cautious distance, the two sides had begun exchanging information, revealing glimpses of their technology and culture. Inside the Endurance, Captain Elias Gray stood before a holographic display that showcased the ship's unique capabilities. The prototype was a marvel of human ingenuity, constructed using materials and designs that blended cutting-edge science with an adaptability honed through centuries of necessity. Elias explained to his senior officers, "Our propulsion system combines quantum slipstream drives with adaptive inertial dampeners. It allows us to outrun most known fleets without sacrificing maneuverability. Our stealth tech isn't just about hiding, it's about controlling what others perceive, creating illusions, interference patterns, even cloaking at multiple wavelengths, Lieutenant." Dara, the ship's chief engineer, nodded. "It's a leap beyond anything the Talinar or their allies have seen. We've taken risks building this ship in secret, but it's worth it. If we're going to protect humanity's interests out here, we need to be faster and smarter than anyone else." Elias's gaze hardened. "And we have to be ready for anything. The galaxy is vast, and not all are eager for humans to reclaim their place." Meanwhile, on the Valkyrian, Lyra reviewed the data the humans had shared. The ship's design was unlike anything in the official records. It was clear this was no Earth command vessel, but a product of independent human innovation, perhaps even a rogue mission operating beyond oversight. What motivates these humans to work outside their own command structure? Lyra wondered aloud during a strategy meeting. Ambassador Quill, a seasoned diplomat from a neighboring star system, responded thoughtfully. "Humans have always been fiercely independent. History shows they value freedom and initiative, sometimes even at great risk. This ship is an extension of that spirit." As the Talinar fleet and the Endurance continued their uneasy alliance, the aliens began to grasp why humans were so unpredictable and so formidable. Lyra decided to take a calculated risk. She authorized a joint exploration mission, a mixed team of Talinar scientists and human engineers to study a nearby asteroid belt, rumored to harbor rare resources and ancient relics. The mission would test their cooperation and build trust. Captain Elias welcomed the idea. "We've adapted to working with different species before. Let's prove that together we can do more than survive. We can thrive." The team boarded a shuttle and descended into the shadowy asteroid field. The terrain was treacherous, jagged rocks, shifting debris, and pockets of volatile gases. Yet human ingenuity shone brightly. Using their ship's advanced scanners and adaptive tools, they navigated obstacles that would have trapped less resourceful explorers. During the expedition, Talinar scientist Dr. Vera observed the humans' methods with fascination. Their approach is flexible, creative. They don't rely solely on technology, but on quick thinking and improvisation. It's unlike our more rigid procedures. Elias smiled. That's humanity's edge. We adapt or perish. We're not just built for survival, we're built for evolution. Suddenly, the shuttle's sensors detected movement, an unknown presence in the belt. It wasn't a natural phenomenon, but an artificial craft, ancient and damaged, drifting among the asteroids. Lyra's heart quickened. Could this be a relic from a lost civilization? Or a warning of threats we don't understand? The joint team approached carefully, scanning the ship. It bore no markings but contained technology that hinted at a civilization far older and more advanced than the Talinar or humans. This changes everything, said Elias quietly. If this ship's technology is salvageable, it could leapfrog human and Talinar advancements. But it also means there's more out there. More history, more danger. Back on the Valkyrian, Lyra shared the findings with her commanders. The galaxy's past is buried in places like this. We've only just begun to uncover it. Humanity's arrival might be the catalyst we need to unlock those secrets. The discovery forged a deeper bond between humans and Talinar, a shared purpose beyond suspicion or fear. As the Endurance and the Valkyrian prepared for the next stage of exploration, both crews felt the weight of history and hope. Together, they would face the mysteries of the galaxy, uncover ancient secrets, and confront whatever challenges lay ahead. Captain Elias Gray looked out at the stars, determination blazing in his eyes. We didn't come here just to survive. We came to lead. Commander Lyra Kess nodded beside him. Then lead we shall. Together. The calm that had settled between the Talinar fleet and the human ship Endurance was shattered in an instant. The sensors aboard the Valkyrian erupted, with a cascade of alerts. Commander, incoming contact. Multiple vessels detected at high velocity, Lieutenant Marin reported, eyes wide with urgency. Lyra Kess leaned over the console, her voice steady but resolute. Hostile? Tactical readings confirm aggressive. Signatures, weapons powered and locked on us. Unknown faction, but their tech is unlike anything we've encountered. The fleet immediately shifted from cautious collaboration to defensive readiness. Ships veered into battle formations, shields thrumming with power, weapons systems primed. Captain Elias Gray stood on the bridge of the Endurance, his jaw tight. They're after us, he said grimly. Whatever this new faction is, they've been tracking us, or us and the Talinar. This changes everything. The Endurance's adaptive cloaking flickered to life, shimmering invisibly as the ship slipped toward the asteroid belt where earlier expeditions had taken place. Lyra's voice rang out over the Valkyrian. All units, engage defensive protocols. We will not be caught off guard. The unknown enemy vessels surged forward with calculated speed. Their weapons unleashed pulses of energy that carved through the void, narrowly missing the fleet's shields. Evasive maneuvers, Lyra ordered. Keep formation. Protect the Endurance. The chase was brutal and relentless. The hostile ships matched the humans' speed and agility, closing the distance despite the fleet's best efforts. Commander, Lieutenant Rao reported from Tactical, they're not just chasing us, they're trying to isolate the Endurance. If they capture it, they could gain access to human technology that would tip the balance of power. Lyra's mind raced. We can't let that happen. Send interception teams. Focus on protecting the Endurance at all costs. Captain Gray piloted the Endurance through the treacherous asteroid field with skill born of years of experience. The vessel darted between tumbling rocks, using the environment to its advantage. We have to buy time for the fleet to respond, Elias said. Our tech lets us outpace them briefly, but they're persistent. As the Endurance weaved through the belt, the pursuing ships suffered damage from unexpected collisions and plasma bursts. The humans' unconventional tactics and intimate knowledge of the terrain gave them a fleeting edge. On the Valkyrian, Lyra coordinated a counterattack. Launch squads Gamma and Delta. Engage at maximum firepower, but avoid risking civilians or the Endurance. Missiles streaked across the void, explosions blooming among the enemy vessels. The battle was fierce but measured, both sides wary of provoking an all-out war. In the heat of combat, an enemy flagship revealed itself, a massive warship bristling with weapons and shields. It commanded the assault with cold precision, directing its forces to flank and overwhelm the humans. "Target the flagship," Lyra ordered. "If we take it down, the rest will retreat." Lieutenant Rel smiled grimly. "A bold plan, Commander. The Valkyrian and accompanying cruisers focused their firepower on the flagship. Beams of concentrated energy collided with its hull, sparks flying as shields flickered. Elias, recognizing the opportunity, maneuvered the Endurance for a risky flank attack, using the ship's advanced propulsion to strike at vulnerable points. The flagship staggered under the combined assault. Its weapon systems began to fail, and its command bridge went dark. "Flagship down," Ral confirmed. "Enemy forces are breaking off. Pursuit ending." A collective sigh of relief swept through the Talanar fleet. Lyra addressed the fleet. "Good work. This was a test, a warning. Whoever sent those attackers wants to keep humans isolated and weak, but we showed them what cooperation between our species can do." Elias nodded. "The chase proved something vital. Humans and Talanar together are stronger than any threat we face alone." Back on the Endurance, the crew began repairs and prepared for the next phase of their mission. The attack had been a stark reminder that the galaxy was a dangerous place, one filled with shadows that sought to divide and conquer. Yet, despite the threat, a new confidence grew. The humans were no longer alone, and the Talanar were no longer adversaries but allies. Lyra looked out at the stars beyond the fleet. "This chase is over," she said quietly. "But the real journey, our journey, has only just begun." The aftermath of the battle left both fleets shaken but resolute. Damage reports flooded in, but more importantly, the attack had cleared the haze of suspicion hanging between the Talanar and the humans. They were no longer strangers in the void. They were comrades bound by survival and a shared enemy. Commander Lyra Kess convened a council on the Valkyrian, inviting Captain Elias Gray and several key officers from both sides. The conference room buzzed with energy, hope, caution, and a growing sense of purpose. "We can no longer afford to operate in isolation," Lyra began, eyes sweeping across the gathered faces. "The forces that attacked us will come again, and they will be better prepared. We must unite, not just in defense but in understanding and cooperation." Elias nodded in agreement. "Humanity has learned hard lessons about division. We survived because we overcame them. Now together we can stand against threats no one can face alone." The discussion turned to the future, strategies for joint patrols, sharing intelligence, and pooling technology. Human engineers proposed integrating adaptive shielding with Talanar plasma weaponry, creating a hybrid defense system that combined the strengths of both species. Ambassador Quill, ever the diplomat, suggested a formal treaty. This alliance should be more than a temporary measure. It must be a lasting bond, a symbol that disparate peoples can rise above their differences. Lyra smiled, the weight of responsibility pressing on her shoulders, but softened by the promise of unity. "Then we will draft a pact, a commitment to protect each other, to share knowledge, and to explore the galaxy as partners." Meanwhile, aboard the Endurance, Captain Gray's crew worked tirelessly to repair the vessel and integrate their systems with Talanar technology. The exchange was not without challenges. Differences in engineering philosophies and protocols caused friction, but the shared goal kept tensions at bay. Lieutenant Dara, the human chief engineer, marveled at the Talanar's precision and discipline. "They're incredibly meticulous. We can learn from that." Talinar technician Seller smiled wryly. And your creativity keeps us from getting stuck in old routines. Outside the Valkyrian, the fleets began joint exercises, practicing coordinated maneuvers and communications. The sight of human and Talinar ships moving in synchronized patterns was a testament to their growing bond. Yet, beneath the surface, questions lingered. Who had sent the attackers? What was their ultimate goal? And how many more shadows lurked in the vast darkness? To answer those questions, Lyra and Elias agreed on a bold plan, a joint expedition to investigate the ancient derelict ship discovered in the asteroid belt, the relic that hinted at civilizations older and more powerful than either species had imagined. The decision was met with unanimous approval. It was a chance not only to unlock lost knowledge, but to prove their alliance could face the unknown together. As preparations began, Lyra found a moment to speak privately with Elias. In the observation lounge, the stars shimmered beyond the glass, silent witnesses to their pact. "You've changed everything," she said quietly. "Not just for the Talinar, but for the future of this galaxy." Elias met her gaze. "It's not just me. It's the human spirit, our willingness to face the impossible and keep moving forward." Lyra nodded. "Together, we're stronger than any threat." Their alliance forged in the heat of battle. The humans and Talinar looked ahead, toward new frontiers, new mysteries, and the promise of a future built not on fear, but on hope. The galaxy was vast and full of dangers yet unseen, but united, they would meet those challenges head-on. The Endurance and the Valkyrian sailed side by side into the unknown, a beacon of unity in the darkness. The joint expedition set out with a solemn purpose. The ancient derelict ship, discovered, deep within the treacherous asteroid belt, held secrets that could reshape their understanding of the galaxy and their place within it. Both human and Talinar crews prepared meticulously, aware that this mission could alter the course of history. Commander Lyra Kess and Captain Elias Gray led the expedition, their teams unified by the gravity of the task. As the combined shuttle glided toward the derelict, the vast expanse of rusted metal and fragmented structures came into view, drifting silently among the rocks like a sleeping giant. "This ship is unlike anything in our records," Lyra murmured. "Its technology predates even the oldest known civilizations." Elias studied the eerie outline against the starry backdrop. "Its presence here isn't an accident. Something made it stop and stay." They docked carefully, the airlock seals hissing as they transferred from the shuttle to the ancient vessel's interior. The air inside was stale but breathable, preserved by technology long forgotten. The corridor walls were etched with strange symbols, glowing faintly in hues neither species recognized. As the teams advanced, human engineers scanned for power, sources, while Talinar scientists documented the alien architecture. Lieutenant Dara whispered, "This is beyond anything we imagined. The materials, the design, it's like the ship itself is alive, responding to our presence." Suddenly, a low hum echoed through the halls, and holographic displays flickered to life. A ghostly projection appeared, a figure cloaked in light, speaking in an ancient tongue. Its message was fragmented but clear in meaning. A warning. The galaxy once faced destruction at the hands of a darkness beyond comprehension, the hologram intoned. This ship was built to contain it, to hold back the storm that threatens all life. Lyra and Elias exchanged grim looks. The enemy that had attacked them might be connected to this ancient threat, something more profound than a mere territorial dispute. Deeper into the ship, the teams discovered a sealed chamber containing a device pulsing with energy. It emitted waves of power that interfered with sensors and communication. Elias approached cautiously. "This must be the containment unit. Whatever it holds is powerful and dangerous." Dr. Vera, the Talinar scientist, analyzed the readings. If this device fails, it could unleash chaos on a scale none of us can imagine. The discovery raised urgent questions. Was the ancient enemy truly defeated, or merely imprisoned? And, if imprisoned, what had disturbed the balance to provoke their recent assault? As they worked to study the device, a shadow flickered at the edge of their sensors. Hostile ships, likely scouts from the same faction that had attacked earlier, were closing in, drawn by the energy signature. Lyra's voice was firm. "We must protect this place at all costs. If they seize the containment unit, the consequences will be catastrophic." The expedition teams scrambled to set defensive measures, repurposing the derelict's technology and the humans' advanced systems. The alliance between their crews was tested as they coordinated responses under pressure. The battle that followed was fierce, with enemy ships weaving through the asteroid belt to strike the ancient vessel. The combined human Talanar forces fought, with tenacity and strategy, leveraging their new hybrid technologies. In the heart of the derelict, Elias and Lyra led a desperate push to stabilize the containment device. Sparks flew, systems surged, and moments stretched as the device threatened to overload. With a final surge, the device hummed steady, the threat contained, for now. Breathing heavily, Elias said, "This isn't just a battle for survival. It's a fight for the future of every species in the galaxy." Lyra nodded, determination blazing. "Our alliance must grow stronger. Only together can we face the ancient shadows and the new dangers they bring." As the enemy forces retreated, the Alliance's victory was bittersweet. They had uncovered a fragment of a much larger mystery and a warning that the darkness imprisoned within the derelict was far from gone. The Endurance and the Valkyrian prepared to return to their fleets, carrying vital knowledge and a renewed commitment. Elias looked to Lyra, his voice steady. "We've only just begun. The galaxy's secrets and threats are deeper than we imagined, but united we will face them." Lyra smiled faintly. "Together, we are stronger than any shadow." The uneasy peace following the expedition into the ancient derelict ship lasted only a short time. The joint human Talanar fleets had barely returned to their respective home bases when intelligence reports began to surface. Reports of growing hostile activity near key trade routes and uncharted star systems. Commander Lyra Kess convened with Captain Elias Gray once more aboard the Valkyrian, their faces drawn with concern. "The attacks are escalating. The faction that pursued us is no longer content with reconnaissance or skirmishes. They are mobilizing." Elias studied the holographic star map projected between them. Red markers blinked ominously, each indicating a recent strike on civilian convoys and outposts. "They're cutting off supply lines, isolating systems. It's a classic strategy, starve us of resources and allies." Lyra nodded grimly. "And they're testing our defenses, probing for weaknesses. We need to respond decisively before they gain a foothold." The fleets, now bolstered by their alliance, prepared for a series of counteroffensives. Human and Talanar engineers worked side by side, integrating advanced weaponry and defense systems that combined precision, adaptability, and raw power. On the bridge of the Endurance, Elias addressed his crew. "This isn't just a fight for territory. It's a battle for survival, for our right to exist and to shape our own destiny. Every ship, every crew member matters." The first major engagement came near the edge of the Talanar sector, where a convoy escort mission turned into a full-scale battle. Enemy warships emerged from cloaked positions, striking with brutal efficiency. Lyra commanded from the Valkyrian, coordinating fleet maneuvers with sharp tactical precision. "Focus fire on their command vessels. Protect the convoy at all costs." The combined fleet unleashed a symphony of lasers, plasma bolts, and missile volleys. The enemy fought fiercely, but the humans' unpredictability and the Talanar's disciplined formations turned the tide. Mid-battle, Elias piloted the Endurance through a narrow gap in the enemy's flank, targeting their supply ships. Disabling. Those vessels crippled the enemy's ability to sustain their assault. As the enemy fleet began to falter, an ominous transmission cut through the comm channels, a chilling voice speaking in a language none recognized. "This is but the beginning," the voice warned. "You have awakened powers you cannot control. The darkness will consume all." The cryptic message sent a ripple of unease through the Allied commanders. Back in the strategy room, Lyra and Elias analyzed the communication. "They're trying to intimidate us," Lyra said, "but there's more behind those words. We need to find out who or what this faction truly serves." The battle ended with a hard-won victory, but casualties on both sides weighed heavily. As repair crews worked tirelessly, the Alliance prepared for what lay ahead. In quieter moments, crew members shared stories of their homes, their hopes, and their fears. The growing camaraderie forged bonds that transcended species and history. Lieutenant Dara, speaking with Talinar officer Sella, remarked, "We've faced darkness before, both within ourselves and the universe. But hope and unity are the lights that guide us through." Seller nodded thoughtfully. Perhaps that is humanity's greatest strength, their unyielding belief in tomorrow. Meanwhile, intelligence agents uncovered disturbing news. The enemy faction was linked to an ancient cult devoted to the very darkness sealed within the derelict ship. Their aim was not conquest for power alone, but to unleash that ancient force and reshape the galaxy in their image. Lyra and Elias knew the stakes had never been higher. The fleets prepared to strike at the cult's hidden strongholds, determined to prevent a catastrophe. Before departing, Elias addressed both crews. "We fight not just for ourselves, but for all who cherish freedom, peace, and life. Our unity is the shield that will protect the future." Lyra raised her voice, clear and steady. "We are the guardians of hope. Together we will rise against the darkness." As the ships sped toward their next battle, stars streaking past in hyperspace, the Alliance stood ready to confront the rising threat, undaunted, unbroken, and united. The war for the galaxy's soul was just beginning. The stars beyond the viewport of the Valkyrian seemed colder than ever. Yet within the hull of the flagship, warmth and determination burned brighter than any supernova. The joint human-Talinar fleet prepared for the battle that would decide the fate of their alliance, and perhaps the entire galaxy. Commander Lyra Kess stood at the command console, her eyes sharp and unwavering. Beside her, Captain Elias Gray reviewed the final battle plans with his officers. The enemy cult, driven by a fanatic devotion to the ancient darkness contained within the derelict ship, had gathered its forces in a sprawling complex hidden deep in a nearby nebula, a labyrinth of energy storms and asteroid fields. "This is the heart of their power," Lyra said. "If they succeed in activating the ancient force, the consequences would be unimaginable." Elias's voice was steady but resolute. "We fight not only for ourselves, but for every civilization that calls this galaxy home. Failure is not an option." The Allied fleet moved into position with military precision. Human and Talinar pilots exchanged nods over comms, a silent promise that whatever happened, they would stand together. As the Endurance and the Valkyrian led the charge, the enemy's defenses erupted in a deadly storm of plasma and energy. The cultists' ships were relentless, their fanatical energy fueling their aggression. Lyra's voice cut through the chaos. "Hold the line. Protect the Endurance. Focus fire on their command ships." The battle was a maelstrom of light and sound, lasers and missiles streaking through space, ships twisting and diving through the nebula's hazardous storms. Captain Gray piloted the Endurance deep into the enemy formation, targeting the core of the cult's power station. Explosions rocked the hull as the crew fought to maintain control. Inside the cult's fortress, a dark chamber housed the ancient containment device, now destabilizing as the battle raged around it. Cult leaders chanted in the alien tongue, attempting to override the safeguards and release the ancient force. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the Allied ships. The containment device emitted a pulse of energy, shaking the battlefield. Sensors went haywire as a shadowy form began to materialize, an entity of swirling darkness, vast and incomprehensible. Elias's voice was calm but urgent. "This is it, the force they sought to unleash. We cannot allow it to break free." Lyra ordered, "All units concentrate fire on the containment device. We must shut it down before it's too late." Coordinated attacks bombarded the device, beams of energy converging to disrupt its core. The entity writhed in response, pushing back with tendrils of shadow that threatened to consume the fleet. The humans and Talanar fought with every ounce of strength and willpower. Pilots flew with a fierce determination born of shared sacrifice, their bond a shield against despair. In a daring maneuver, Elias led a small strike team directly to the device's core. Boarding the fortress under heavy fire, they fought their way through cultists determined to see their cause fulfilled. Inside the chamber, Elias and his team worked swiftly to recalibrate the ancient machinery. The device's power flickered, the dark entity screaming in frustration. Lyra coordinated fleet movements, calling out updates and coordinating reinforcements. At the last moment, Elias activated the shutdown sequence. The device's energy faded, and the dark entity dissolved into nothingness. A storm quelled before it could become a tempest. The cult's forces, leaderless and broken, surrendered or fled into the nebula. The battle won. The fleet regrouped amid the stars. Exhaustion weighed heavily, but pride and hope shone brighter. Lyra addressed the crew over the comms. "Today we faced an ancient darkness together, and we prevailed. This victory is proof that unity, courage, and resilience can overcome even the greatest threats." Elias's voice followed, resolute and warm. "Human and Talanar alike, we have shown the galaxy the power of alliance. Our future is ours to shape, stronger, united, and free." As the fleets began their journey home, the stars seemed less cold, their light a promise of new beginnings. The humans and Talanar had faced the darkness and emerged stronger, not just as allies, but as a single force poised to protect the galaxy for generations to come. In the endless night of space, their story was a beacon, a testament to the enduring spirit of life and the hope that shines brightest when worlds unite.